Hi guys, today's video is one that I am so excited about because we are going to be trying on a brand that was in my 2020 brands I want to try in 2021 list, and this is actually the Beauty Bay's own eyeshadow brand. So I bought the new palette. This is the Wilderness palette, and this is so cute. When I first saw a sneak peek of this, like my jaw dropped a little bit because this is so freaking beautiful, and I cannot wait to do some looks with this. We're actually just going to jump in and do 3 looks right away because I've already seen a lot of people do their first impressions, and so I don't feel like doing a first impression with this is really necessary right now because so many people have already kind of given their thoughts. So I just want to give you some looks, and then of course I will give you my review at the end of the video. But I'm so excited. I can't wait to use this. And when I swatched this palette, the shimmers in this are so insanely intense and metallic and foiled, and they felt kind of like a putty formula. So I'm very interested to see like how they're going to perform and look on the eyes. But man, I've seen some thumbnails of people using this and their looks have been absolutely insane. So I'm so excited. This is a very inexpensive palette. It's $15 or 15 pounds. Beauty Bay is a UK brand, so it did take me quite some time to get this. I ordered it like the day after it launched, I think, and I got it 2 days ago. I'm not sure when this video was going up, but it definitely took me like over a week to receive this palette. But yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm like a little kid just waiting to dig into this because this color story inspires me so much, and I just want this to be really good. My only concern is that some of the matte swatched a little bit sheerly, and they kind of reminded me of the Sample Beauty formula. Like the formula in this reminded me a lot of the Sample Beauty formula, and I'm not really the biggest fan of their mattes, but we'll see what this palette is about. I'm not going to judge it until I've tried it, so we're just going to jump straight in. I'm going to prime with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base because that is what I always use, and it just works so well for me. And if you can see some staining, it's because I have some staining from yesterday. But story of my life, that happens a lot. And I also would not be surprised if this palette stains a little bit as well, because my arm is still a little bit stained here from some of the blues, which is pretty common. I don't know if it's just because of my skin that I do tend to experience quite a bit of staining with a lot of different formulas, and I know that some people don't. But just something to keep in mind, that maybe some of these shadows will stain, but of course I will let you know at the end of the video after I've tried all of the shades, or at least a lot of the shades in this, and I've worn them for quite some time because I always wear my looks for a full day. I like to film in the morning and then just wear my makeup and see how everything wears. Okay, first look, what do I want to do? So when I look at this, there is obviously so many color combinations you can do. You can go all blue, you can go all green, you can go all sort of warm tone. I like to mix and match, so I'm probably not going to do any monochromatic looks in this video because I want to see like how these tones kind of work together. So when I first look at this, I'm thinking I want to kind of mix the red with the blue and sort of make like purple. So I'm going to start, I think, with the dark blue, and I'm going to use that in the outer corner of my eye. And then once I start blending that out with the red, this should turn into a bit of a purple. So we'll get sort of a blue, purple, red gradient. And I think that's going to look really nice. So like I said, just going to start packing this in the outer corner of my eye. And this is also a very dark blue. And blues can tend to get a little bit patchy if you try to layer them too much. So I do like to go in with my darkest blues first, especially if I feel like the formula is a bit on the sheer side. Of course, it might be able to build, but I just want to play it safe so I don't get any patchiness with this color. But that is so rich and so pigmented. Oh, I love this so far. I think I'm going to take a bit of this underneath my eye as well, just so we can connect it here. And I'm probably going to take this through my crease as well, just so we can have that depth be all the way in. And so far I'm loving this color. And I think that having this crease together with maybe like some of the greens on my lid will look really fun. I'm going to leave a bit of room just in the front portion of my lower lash line, just so I have room for another shade there if I want so, because I haven't yet decided what I want to do, so I just want to leave my options open. So far this is looking real nice. I am loving this. Okay, I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to take a clean brush, clean Rephr 13, because that is what I use. I have so many of these. So I'm next going to go into the shade here called Poppy. I don't think I said the name of the first one. That one is called Twilight. So I'm now going to take the red matte, and we're going to use that to blend out this blue with. I'm going to tap it off a little bit just so I can just control the pigment here, and I'm just going to run that over the edge where these two colors meet. Just kind of packing it on in the beginning, and then I will gently blend the edges. And I'm surprised at just how red this is. Like I really thought that this would turn into more of a like a pink, but it's actually looking quite red on the eye, and I am not mad at that. I actually like that a lot because a lot of reds tend to lean pink, so it's very hard to find an actual red matte, and I would say that this is pretty close to being very red. I feel like this look is definitely one of those like just trust the process kind of thing, because right now it's looking a little bit crazy because I haven't done any blending on the edges and stuff, but don't worry, it's going to come together. You just have to take it one step at a time here. And I really like with this palette that there's no like bone colored mattes, or no, they didn't feel the need to pull in like neutrals and browns, because I don't know, for some reason like that just bores me in palettes. I know I'm in the minority, and I know that most people like having some neutrals in palettes, but to me sometimes it just feels like brand put them in because they feel like they have to. But this is proof to me that you don't need to have, even though it's a big palette, you don't need to have like all of these neutral shades. Like there's a couple here that can maybe be qualified as neutrals, like this corner down here is like quite neutral, but you don't have those basics like blending out shades or transition shades, and I really like that. So now that I have these shades put down, I'm gonna take another clean brush, just whatever clean fluffy brush you have, and I'm just gonna take my time here and really blend out the edge between my skin basically and that red color, so we can get a good smooth blend. Like you can really see the difference now between this side and this side. Like this is looking so much better already, and this is blending out very effortlessly. I don't feel like I really have to work at this at all. I am having a good old time so far. Next, I'm just gonna go back into that blue and really intensify this and make sure that the blend between the two colors is looking okay. And then we're gonna go in with some shimmers. And like I said, I think I wanna use some greens because I just think that having a green with this would look kind of cool and interesting. But of course, before we put on shimmers, I am going to just lay down a layer of some glitter primer, because I think especially with shadows like this that are very creamy, I think that with my hooded eyes, I need some kind of a glitter primer or glitter glue to prevent them from creasing throughout the day. So I'm just gonna take this all over my lid where I want my shimmers to go. I'm not being precise at all. I'm actually using quite a large brush to do this with. This one is from BK Beauty. It's super, super soft. Really nice for when you just want to put like a shimmer all over your lid and sort of blend it into your crease. This is the number 203 brush. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna use, do I want to use 2 or 3 shimmers? I think I want to use this one and this one. I know I said green, this is more of a like a turquoise, but I think that's the one I want to use because it just looks so pretty. So I'm gonna start with this one. This one is called Breeze, and I'm gonna take that on the sticky side of the brush that I have my glitter primer with. These can probably be a little bit tricky to pick up on a dry brush because they are such a kind of putty formula. So I'm just gonna basically put this all over my lid here where I have my glitter primer, except for the inner corner where I want to use that gold. I feel like they're a little bit tricky to just kind of lay down on your lid. It's taken a little bit more time than I expected to get like a nice opaque coat, and it's not as maybe it is as shiny as it was in the swatches. I think that just because it is such a creamy formula, you have to just work with it a little bit extra, but I think that looks really, really nice. I like this color combination a lot. This formula to me is so reminiscent of the Super Shock shadows from ColourPop. Not that I have a lot of them, but especially the highlighters. I can't really speak for a lot of the eyeshadows because like I said, I don't have a lot of them. I don't even think I have any of them right now, but I do have some of the Super Shock highlighters, and I really, really do like them, but I haven't used them on the eyes. But I feel like the formula would be quite similar if you're trying to get like a point of reference just to compare it to something, but this looks really nice. Next up, I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush here just so I can have a little bit more control, and I'm gonna take a kind of scratchy brush. I'm gonna take this one from Morphe. This is the M124. Like I said, it's quite a scratchy brush, so it's just going to pick up a little bit easier here than something that is very, very smooth. If you have a rougher brush with like stiffer bristles, it's gonna be easier to pick up a shadow that is very creamy than if you have something like, say, this one from Wet n Wild, because it's very slick, whereas this one is kind of rough and like stiff, like I said. So I'm gonna put this shade, did I say what shade I was going in with? This is the shade Lime that kind of lime greeny shade. And I'm just gonna put that in the front portion of my lid here. That is beautiful. Ooh, this looks a lot more metallic, I feel like, than the other one that I just put on. I think I'm gonna take this in the inner corner as well and just sort of wrap it around. And then I might also layer a little bit of the lightest shimmer over the top. Maybe I will. Is there anything that can go just in the front portion here? I think I do have a shade that I can use. I just want to try as many of these as possible. I do want to try to, during the 3 looks, have used all of them. Look at that. Oh, isn't that so pretty? I'm feeling this look. Okay, so we're gonna use, I think, 2 more shades, maybe 2 more shades. So I'm gonna first take, I'm thinking this one, like in the front portion of my lower lash line. This one is called Fossil. This one is a little bit tricky to pick up on a pencil brush. It's looking kind of chunky here, so I'm going to spray this with some Fix Plus because I do want it to be nice and smooth. You can use whatever spray that you have. Just make sure it's something that doesn't irritate your eyes, maybe something that doesn't have alcohol in it. Even water is going to work very well. Yeah, this looks beautiful. Oh, these shimmers look so nice. Like I said, they can be a little bit tricky to pick up on certain brushes, but if you have brushes that work nicely with these kind of formulas, I think you're going to love them. And obviously using a finger is probably going to be, I don't know, the best with these, but you guys know I don't like using my fingers with eyeshadows because I like to have control. So I've just kind of figured out what kind of brushes that I like to use with formulas that can be a little bit tricky, and also just using a glitter primer and a sticky brush, like it's the sticky side of your brush to pick them up with, is going to be such a game changer. Like, it took me such a long time to realize that, but that is like the best way to get these kind of creamy shadows and sometimes the very sparkly shadows to really get on your eyes. Oh man, look at that. Does not look so good. I'm gonna take just a little bit of the shade called Ray. I think this one has kind of a green shift to it. I don't know how that's gonna go, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try it anyway because I just want to try all of these. This one is not as flaky as the other one that I just used, so I think I'll be okay with not spraying this. I'm just gonna put a little bit basically right in my inner corner to just connect the upper and the lower lash line, and I think that looks very, very fun. So I think that's gonna be it for look number 1. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish off, and I will come back and I will show you the final look. And here's how I decided to finish off. So I really like this look. I think this turned out so good. To finish off, I used some green in my waterline. This is a eyeliner from Lethal in the shade Ectoplasm. This was done in collaboration with Teresa Estad, and I love this color so much. And I feel like it just kind of complements the look, and it really finished it off nicely. Let's see, for my lip today, I have a lip product that I also bought when I bought the palette from Beauty Bay. This isn't the Beauty Bay brand. This is another brand that they had here that's called, I think it's called Citizen. It's just spelled out CTZN, but I'm sure it's just pronounced Citizen because why wouldn't it be? So this is kind of cool. I'd never heard of this brand, but basically these come in like dual-ended products. So you have like a bullet lipstick on one side, and then on the other side there is a gloss. So I'm wearing both today. And so far, I gotta say, I really like the matte formula on this. I did not have to use the gloss on top at all because the matte formula I would probably use like on its own very often, and I would probably also use the gloss on its own very often. So I feel like this is the kind of product that would live in my bag, like literally live in my bag. And I love the color of this. It's a beautiful nude on me, and I'm very happy that I bought this. Very, very happy. The matte formula is very velvety, and I love those kind of formulas. It went on so smoothly. It didn't completely dry down, but definitely dried out enough that I would call it like a matte lipstick. But I love this. I'm so happy with this. I cannot wait to do more looks. So we're just gonna jump straight into look number 2 and see what I can figure out because I have so many ideas that I wanna do. So look number 2, I'm kind of thinking what I want to do is I want to use the minty shades because I just sort of want to match my sweater. And yes, I'm wearing a sweater, and yes, it's 93 degrees out right now, but I don't care. I'm so over the summer. I just need it to be fall again. I just want to be able to wear all of my sweaters and not die. Like, is that so much to ask for? I don't think so. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the shade called Mint, and then I'm going to use probably this one and this one to deepen them up with. Probably use like this blue here, maybe a little bit of this dark blue matte as well as this one, and maybe this one again on my lid. I should probably use this one because I haven't used it yet. I don't know. We'll see what happens after I'm done with the mattes. I'm gonna start, do I want to start with the darkest shade first? That is always the question, isn't it? Maybe I will start with the shade called, maybe we will just do it in the normal way. Maybe we'll see how these build. I'm gonna start with the shade called Mint. Just taking it on my Rephr number 14, and I'm gonna basically use this as my transition shade. This was one of the shades that didn't swatch very well, so we'll see how it builds on the eyes. I mean, so far it's looking very nice and pigmented, so don't think I'm gonna have any problems with this shade. Usually whatever shade you put down first is going to be good no matter what, because you're putting it straight onto a tacky eyeshadow base, unless you are setting your primer, which I wouldn't really recommend with most formulas, especially pastels. They really do work better if you put them on top of something that's a little bit sticky. But I really like that color. That is so cute. Like, this could be like a one shadow look, or just put like a shimmer all over the lid. Like, that would be really easy. Yeah, this is super cute. I like this a lot. Not sure yet what I want to do under my eye, so I'm just gonna leave that open. I might use like the blues under my eye if it kind of looks like it goes together, but we'll see. Next, I'm gonna take the shade called Force, which is basically a mix between this one and my sweater. I don't know how to explain this color. It's very unique, but it's very pretty. So I'm gonna use this to basically deepen up my crease with, and then I might take a little bit, oh, this is very, very nice. That is beautiful. I really like that color. I might take some of that very dark blue matte and deepen up like the very outer corner with, and just use this to deepen up the crease, just to pull in a bit of a different color here, even though I did use that in my first look, but it is the darkest matte in the palette. So to me, it kind of just makes sense to like use that to deepen up a lot of different colors, because I do like to have a lot of depths in my eye look. A lot of depths? No, not a plural. I have a lot of depth. That's what I was trying to say. Just gonna do the same thing on this eye here, and this is layering very, very nicely on top of that mint. I'm almost a little bit surprised because, like I said earlier in the video, these seem to be a little bit on the sheer side, so I wasn't expecting them to build super well, but I mean, this is doing great so far. So now I'm even more tempted to use that dark blue just to see how a third shade is going to build on top of this, because sometimes using 3 colors is not always the best idea. So I think we're gonna try it. So next we're gonna take the shade called Twilight, which, like I said before, did use it in my first look, and I'm just gonna put that in the outer corner of my eye. This is not gonna go like really in my crease at all, except for just in the outer V. Just gonna focus this right here to get that depth that I'm looking for. And I think I'm also going to take a little bit of this underneath my eye and just sort of wrap it around here, and then maybe I can take the light blue matte in the front portion, just so we can try that one as well. But so far I really like this dark blue. It maybe doesn't layer the absolute best on top of 2 colors here, but you can see it's not looking patchy at all. It's just taking a little bit of time, just like right in this area, to get a nice smooth application. But for being a very dark blue in a very affordable palette, I am quite impressed with this. I think this looks very nice. For the rest of my lower lash line, I'm gonna take the shade here called Sky, which I'm not sure if these tones are really gonna go that nicely together. I feel like this is more of a, it's not a warm tone blue, but I feel like this together with the mint might be a little bit of a weird color combination, but we're just gonna do it anyway because it's fun. And I just wanna really test out the shades in this palette and see how they, that is so pigment, that is sticking so well to my lower lash line. I'm kind of blown away, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this palette is majorly impressing me right now, because for being a $15 palette, my expectations are never that high. That's just being completely honest, because sometimes affordable makeup is just not as good, and that's just how it is. But then you have gems like this where you actually find affordable makeup that works like a charm. Look how pigmented this is. Oh, I really like this. Okay, I'm just gonna perfect the blends a little bit on all of these colors, just go back in with each one of them, and then we're gonna put on some shimmers and see how this look ends up looking. I'm excited. I think I'm probably gonna use like 2 shimmers. I don't think I'm gonna use as many as yesterday, because I've basically used most of the shimmers already. So for the last look, I'll probably do something on the more warm tone side so we can try out the shimmers that I haven't used yet. I am of course going to put on some glitter primer, because it's going to really help pick up the shadows on my brush here. I figure that this formula is probably best used with a finger, but I despise using eyeshadows with my fingers, so I'm just not going to do that. And this is the best way that I have found, like I said in the first look, to pick up shadows that are very creamy on a brush that usually wouldn't pick up on a brush, is to use some kind of a glitter primer and then use the same brush that you put the glue or the glitter primer on and just take it straight into the shadow. And I never get hard pan doing that, because basically you're lifting off whatever layer it is that's sticking to your brush, so you're not actually putting the glue into the pan, you're just picking up the shadow with the glue, if that makes sense. So I'm taking the shade which is called Ocean. This was the blue shimmer, and I'm gonna put that in the middle of my lid here and sort of drag it out, and then we'll use one of the other lighter shimmers in the front portion. This is so pretty. I'm getting kind of oceanic vibes from Ace Beauté with this look, or the Menagerie Whale Song palette. Like, I'm kind of getting those same vibes with there being like mints and dark blues in there. I really like this color combination. And then I think for the rest of my lid here, since we have already used this shade, I'm gonna just use this one. And I think that's gonna look really, really nice. So since I don't have any glitter primer on the other side of my brush, I'm gonna take a little bit of glitter primer just on the back of my hand here, and I'm just gonna put my brush into it. Just clean brush or whatever you wanna call it, and then just to make the brush a little bit sticky. And then I'm putting the brush into the pan, and you can see it just picks up very nicely. And I'm just gonna put this on the rest of my lid here and just blend it into that shade that I just put down. Look at that shimmer. Oh man, that is so pretty. Ooh, these kind of formulas are just stunning on the lid. And I will say, yesterday, these creamy shadows wore extremely well on me. I didn't have any problems with creasing or anything like that, which sometimes I do with shadows that are very creamy, but I had no issue at all with these. That looks so good. Oh, I think this is going to be basically the end of this look, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish off and try to not make this video be like 45 minutes, because I have a feeling it's probably going to be 30 already. So let me go ahead and finish off and I will show you what it looks like. Look is done, and for my waterline I use another lethal eyeliner. This is in the shade Playback. It's a beautiful mint, and I thought it would just complement the look very nicely, and I think it does. For my highlighter today, I'm using the Space Age Prophecy highlighter from Kaleidos. This is the kind of multi-chrome highlighter. I think it is beautiful. And then for my lipstick, I bought a new one from Kat Von D, or KVD Vegan Beauty, whatever the fuck you want to call the brand. I don't know. But this is one of the new, this is a mini, and I don't know how many shades they had in the mini. I want to say just a couple, but I wanted to try out the formula. So this is a very comfortable, creamy, but still opaque lipstick, and I don't know if it's a little bit too light for me or if it's just on the border of like how light I can go with my nude lipsticks. I think it works. Let me know what you feel about this color. I feel like I like it. I think I like it. Yeah, I think I like it. I think that's where I'm going to leave it with that. I'm gonna have to use it a couple more times with like different looks and stuff, but I think it looks quite nice, especially with this look. So that's basically gonna be it for look number 2. I really like this look, and I really like the first look too, and I'm excited to dig into some of these like reddish and maybe some of these orangey tones, as well as this red shimmer. I think we're gonna mostly play in that family in the last look, because that way I get to use this shimmer as well as this one again, and I think that those are just gonna go very nicely together. I might even pull in some of these like grungy greens and make it a very fall look. I think that could be really fun. So yeah, that's gonna be it for look number 2. Let's just go into the last look. So it's time for the last look, and I think for this look we're gonna, like I said in the last look, I'm gonna mostly focus on the bottom 2 rows here, mainly the bottom row, because I want to really work with these reds and oranges. So I think that's where we're gonna start. So I'm thinking I want to start with the darkest shade, just because I just don't want to run into any issues, and it's just a little bit safer to do it this way. So I'm gonna start with the dark red, which is called Raw, and I'm gonna put that in my outer corner, as well as probably, I would say most of my crease, but mostly on the outer portion of my crease. And we'll see what I end up doing under my eye. I was toying with the idea of doing some green, but I don't really want this to be like a Christmas look. And also it's just not gonna go with what I'm wearing anyway. So maybe I won't do that, because I'm kind of feeling these colors. Like, this is beautiful. I wouldn't call this a red. It's more of a, like a very dark berry maybe. It's definitely blending out to a pink, which I've said before, it probably has something to do with my eyeshadow primer, because my eyeshadow primer is a little bit pink based. So a lot of the time, like, red eyeshadows will just pull pink no matter what, but if you have an eyeshadow primer that is more of a warm tone base, like a yellow base, you'll probably have a bit of an easier time trying to make reds actually look red on your eyes, because the eyeshadow primer has a lot to do with which way like a shadow will pull, especially if it's like an in-between kind of shadow. So I think this looks very nice. That is a beautiful color. I'm gonna take this just a little bit in here as well. Like I said, not really all the way in, because I do think I want to use maybe an orange in the inner corner or something like that, just to try out one of these as well. And also pairing this with an orange is going to make the red look a little bit more red. But if I had paired this with, say, a pink transition shade, obviously this would look way more pink. So we're gonna go into the orange. I think we're gonna use, which one do I want to use? I guess I'll use this one, which is called Sunrise. So I'm just gonna dip into that with the same brush that I just wiped off on my towel in front of me. And I'm gonna start here in the front portion of my eye. Just kind of tuck this in here, and then once I have this color down, I'm gonna start taking this over the edge of that red as well. I should probably just call it a pink because it definitely looks more pink.
I'm trying to stay focused, but somehow all I can think of is when you split. I gotta find the motive, play forward, watch every sequence bit by bit, 'cause this is my...
Okay, so that looks quite nice. I'm actually going to take some of that dark color under my eye as well. I think I just want to make this into a fairly simple look here. And I also felt like I lost a little bit of that when I went in with the orange. So I'm just going to intensify the outer corner and just wrap this under my eye. And then we'll see if I want to do anything else in the front portion under my eye or just keep it the same all the way. But I'm thinking I just want to keep it the same here. And then we're going to do that sort of champagne shimmer on the lid, and I think that's gonna be it. Maybe I could pull in like a green on my lid, but I really just want this to be a very monochromatic moment, if you will, or at least with colors that look nice together and not contrast too much, because sometimes that is just what I feel like. It really depends on my mood. Sometimes I just want to have like a very basic eyeshadow look with like similar colors, just different depth, and other times I want to really mix up the colors and use different colors together. But I'm really liking how this is looking, and I really like these colors with my eye color. I think they complement very nicely. So let's see, are we already ready for shimmers? I should probably blend the edge of this color a little bit more. Let's see. Just gonna take a clean fluffy brush here just in the front portion with the orange. I always struggle to blend this area. Don't know if it's just because I don't have enough room or because I just pull it up a little bit too far, but it's always looking a little bit rough right there. So, okay, let's see. I think it is shimmer time. I'm of course going to use some of my NYX glitter primer, and I'm taking that on a Morphe M142. Like I said before, having a bit of a scratchy, rougher brush to pick up these shimmers is really going to help. Just spreading this all over my eye. And with the sticky side of the brush, I'm gonna dip into the shade here called Fossil. Should probably show you what it looks like too, this one. Like I said, with the sticky side is going to pick up very nicely. And then I'm basically just going to put this all over my lid, I think, and that's gonna be it. So very, very simple look, but also very impactful because of just how beautiful and sparkly and metallic and glittery these shimmers are. They are so beautiful. I love this. I mean, is this super easy? Yes, but it's also just very pretty. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Do I want to do anything else just under my eye here? I think I'm just gonna take the orange. Just gonna take that on a small pencil brush and just put that in the front portion of my lower lash line here. And I'm just taking a little bit more of that shimmer that I used on the lid, and I'm just gonna wrap this to meet it up with the orange. And that's basically going to be it for the look. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off, and I'll come back and I will tell you my, I guess, review on this palette, because now that I've done 3 looks, I definitely have a pretty good idea of the formulas. So here is the look all complete, and I really like how it turned out despite being very, very simple, but it's very impactful and it's just very pretty, and I like looks like this a lot. I think that is just, there's something effortless about just using like 3 shades but still getting a very powerful and fun look. I love it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this palette. Now, there are a couple of shades in here that I haven't really dipped into, and I think it is basically just these right here. Maybe the brown. I don't think I touched the brown or this one, but other than that, I'm pretty sure I used every single shade in this, except for like some of these dirty greens and mustards. But I mean, I had a really good time with this palette. You guys saw the looks that I did, and you saw how I did them, and like I didn't have any issues at all. I thought the formula was really nice. It performed very well. The only thing I would say is that the shimmers can maybe be a little bit tricky depending on the brushes and the techniques that you use. If you're just going in completely dry with a dry brush, depending on the brush, you're probably not gonna be able to pick it up properly. Like I was showing this brush in the beginning of the video. This is just a very flat one and very sleek one from Wet n Wild. Like I'm gonna try to, let me try to pick up this one. So like, it just doesn't really pick up that nicely. It does pick up a little bit, but not very evenly and smoothly. It's actually not that bad. Not as bad as I maybe thought it would be, because these are very, very creamy. Okay, so I kind of take that back because I feel like that's picking up a lot better than I was expecting. I'm trying to kind of spread this onto my hand, and that's working okay. But I would definitely recommend using some kind of a glitter primer with these because they are very, very creamy shadows. But despite them being very creamy, I didn't have any problems at all with creasing during the day. They held up very, very well. Surprisingly well, actually, because I do have hooded eyes, and sometimes very, very creamy shadows do tend to crease a little bit on me. But for me, it's not really a big deal. As long as I can just take my finger over and like tap it a little bit and the creasing is gone, I don't really care if it creases, to be honest. But I didn't have any problems with this palette, and I think that for $15, was it $15 or 15 pounds? It might have been 15 pounds, but whatever the price of this palette is, it's absolutely worth the money. And I think that the color story is just wonderful. I think that this is very unique and not really a color story that I feel like I have in my collection already. And that could be just because I don't buy a lot of large palettes, but this one really spoke to me because how can you look at this and just not be in awe? Because this is wonderful. I'm really happy that I bought this palette, and I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this, and especially the shimmers. The shimmers are just so stunning. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see some more 3-look videos that I have on my channel, here's my playlist. I have a lot of these, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.